Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball.
Tuesday, May 19th at 10:30 a.m., it's morning baseball. Wednesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m., have a pawsome time at Bark in the Park. Thursday, May 21st at 6:30, it's Pride Night with $5 Bud or Bud Light draft beer. Individual game tickets start at just $12.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats. The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And boy, have I had a lovely day. Yes, the weather is perfect, but the day started off great. I'll tell you how in just a few moments. Thank you to the Ensera Corporation, which owns about 24 ShopRites in the New York area. They do a lot for the community. They invited me to an event that was held this morning in Ramsey, New Jersey. I didn't know that we had that many listeners in that area. So many of you came to Ramsey this morning to say hello to me. I'll have more on that in just a second. President Trump makes his long-awaited endorsement in the Texas Senate battle. After months of sitting on the sideline, the president has formally endorsed Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton over the incumbent Senator John Cornyn and what has become the most expensive Senate primary in U.S. history. We'll talk live and have more on this at the bottom of the hour with former Congressman Peter King. The president also revealing that he was just an hour away from restarting strikes on Iran. And some good news. Can you hear me now? Ilhan Omar, the Congresswoman from Minnesota, Vice President Vance announcing that she is under DOJ investigation right now. I'm going to get to the mayor of New York City, Mamdani, as well, and his wife, his anti-Semitic wife, so anti-Semitic, it's even reflected in the music that she listens to. 800-848-9222 is the number to reach me on this beautiful day. Okay, Ramsey, New Jersey. I strongly believe, folks, that you patronize those that look out for you. You do business with those that have your back. So besides the fact of all the great things that ShopRite does in the area, and I'm speaking from the heart, this is not about any endorsement or anything like that. I've noticed for years that they employ people, some of their staffers, to give a leg up in the community to those that are disabled or some type of disability. And that's how my son came into contact with the Ensera Corporation. So at one of their stores, they own about 24 supermarkets in our area. Mr. Ensera was there himself, as well as with his lovely daughter, and they're starting a new Italian sandwich, right, where the meats are fresh and the bread is fresh. And at one of the stores in Ramsey, New Jersey, they invited me. I was there. And for Carlos in the control room and Philippe and the other staffers here at the radio station, they are sending food here tomorrow for the staff to have. And so we say thank you. But Mr. Ensera, thank you for what you do for the community. Thank you for being there for people like my son, employing him. So it was just wonderful, folks. And 40 to 50 listeners of this radio network came out to say good morning and hello to me this morning, shaking my hand and so on. I just put up a photo on my Twitter, on my X, of my wife and myself there, as well as my son, as with Mr. Ensera. Again, thank you for that. So perhaps that's the good before I get to the ugly. And the ugly is Luigi Mangione, right? Oh, let's treat him like he's some folk hero, even though he shot a CEO allegedly in the back, killing him. A father whose kids now, dad is not around. And I'm sure you've heard the story about these three nuts that showed up outside the courthouse. And I've explained how, even the press pass process has been victimized by the left. They claimed that the police department of New York City was using it to punish its critics. So the process was removed from the New York City Police Department and turned over to an independent city agency. And basically, almost anybody and everybody can get a press pass now. Certainly these three women, the vile things they were saying. Now, it's a little hard to hear, but they did this intentionally. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They're standing outside the courthouse with their press passes on saying vile, ugly things. It's a little hard to hear, but listen close. Stating that the man that was killed, allegedly by Mr. Luigi Mangione, that the kids are better off without him being around and without blood money, and F this blood money, that is, and F this and F that. Take a listen, folks.
Brian Thompson, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I want to say. Brian Thompson, his mom, that lady who said something on Inside Edition. I said what I said. I don't give a fuck.
His children are better off without him. They need to learn to not be like their dad and enjoy the blood money, kids.
Wow. 800-848-9222. We continue with the ugly. I started with the good. ShopRite in New Jersey this morning, and the sandwich was delicious. Thank you, folks. I know, A1C, diabetes. I know my high blood pressure. I know. But so many of you saying hello, it really gave me renewed energy. It really did, folks. Thank you. And so continuing with the ugly, and that is the anti-Semitism of the mayor's wife, Mayor Mamdani. So anti-Semitic, it's reflected even in her music that she listens to. This is the story that broke over the weekend, Sunday night. I want you to listen to the journalist from the Free Press, her extended version on social media in terms of breaking this story.
On Tuesday, I asked Mayor Mamdani's office, why does his wife appear to have a Spotify account with songs about greedy Jews and how Israel gonna die, bitch? By Wednesday, the account was totally shut down, 100% private. And this was just one of the things I found after more than a month of following every possible lead about who is Rama Dawaji and what does she actually believe. The first thing I learned through interviews and her digital footprint is that anti-Israel politics are really the glue of her social circle. It's the philosophy of her favorite bookstore, which boycotts Israeli products. Also, when she went to Paris Fashion Week last fall, and that is despite making about $10,000 last year, according to tax filings, she popped over to London, where even the vintage market she went to was all about Palestinian solidarity and opposition to the Jewish state. Her closest friends seem to share these values. One of her best friends posted an image of them that shows them at an anti-Israel rally in the aftermath of October 7th. But this is such a strong value for Rama, it even cuts across party lines, because I discovered she's liked posts from Tucker Carlson. And then there's a Spotify account I found that seems to belong to her. And there were two playlists that were made in the months after October 7th. One was called Hungry But Sexy for Palestine, and it had songs like Amrika, that's with 3 Ks, KKK, Intifada, and a song in Arabic that translates to I Hate Israel. The mayor's office declined to comment for this story, but the First Lady's digital footprint has been a scandal for months now. And all that they've really said is that she's a private person. So then my question is, who answers for the First Lady's apparent Spotify account full of Jew and Israel-hating lyrics? This is all reporting that I did for the Free Press. It's out today at thefp.com.
You cannot make this up. You can't make it up. There's no way around this. The wife of the mayor of New York City is anti-Semitic. And as far as we know, unless proven elsewise, so is the mayor. We know that his dad is anti-Semitic and what his dad feels about the Jewish community, what his wife feels about the Jewish community, and perhaps what the mayor of New York City himself may feel about the Jewish community. 800-848-9222. In a moment, your telephone calls, but this is the former governor of New York State, Andrew Cuomo, on the lack of experience of Mamdani.
This new mayor, he doesn't know anything about government. There's no government here. There's no professionalism here. He was a two-term legislator that never showed up for work. He's never managed the candy store, right? This is all political symbolism. I'm a socialist. We're no kings. We're going to take the money from the rich. I'm going to give you free groceries and free buses and everything free. It's all political BS.
Well, you know, folks, I'm almost at the point where I almost don't know what to say. Let's start with some of your telephone calls. 800-848-9222. Kevin, Rockaway Beach. Kevin, line 2, what's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing? You do a great job. I just want to say, first of all,
thank you.
Second of all, yes, I always enjoy your show. I wanted to say that if I was a parent of one of those girls who was outside the courthouse screaming those hatred and stuff, I would literally disown my daughter. I would disown her. I would be so ashamed, embarrassed. I'm sure those girls were raised with proper, parents and proper, education and stuff. And for them to spew hate and stuff is, I don't care, and it's just disgusting. And as far as I just heard Cuomo just speak. I'm not a big fan of Cuomo, so
okay,
spewing that stuff. Good.
All right, but let's go back to your first point, Kevin. I can't think of any scenario where I would disown my daughter, but I feel exactly what you're saying. They stood out there to get attention, and they were putting their thumb in our eyes, if you will, in our eye, by having their press passes on. And they're not reporters. They run a blog or, social media site. But again, all of this is because of the left. The left said, the police department can't run the press pass unit anymore because they're biased. Give it over to an independent agency. Well, we see what happens with your independent agency. And so, Kevin, I feel your pain. I really do, because it's disgusting what these women actually did. Standing out there, this man is dead. Do we have no shame anymore, society? Do we think that we can just do and say anything that we want? And I don't think so. I see we have Angie on Long Island about Mamdani, Joe in New Jersey about the woman that fell into the manhole, that it's such a tragedy, and we see all of your other calls coming in. What we're going to do right now is take a break. And when we come back, we will continue with your telephone calls, and coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes, we'll talk live with former Congressman Peter King. We are coming right back.
Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And it will be interesting tonight to see what Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has to say. He's here in New York speaking at a New York GOP event. I will be there, and I'm quite interested to see what he has to say. So the Florida governor in town. Remember, it's DeSantis that said Mamdani should win the Realtor of the Year award not from New York, but from Florida, from people leaving New York to get to Florida. Let's go back to the telephone calls. Angie, line 4, Long Island. What's on your mind, Angie?
Hi, Dominic. I get to talk to you during the day. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for giving $8 million to the migrants and forcing me to stay home from school because it was impossible for me to take public transportation to go to school today. So that's my first thing that's on my mind. My second thing is...
Wait. Angie, how long is your commute every day? If the trains were running? They're running now.
It's about an hour, but yesterday it took me 3 hours, and it was just impossible. The buses were driving right by. When you finally got on, it was shoulder to shoulder. It was just terrible. And I actually had to leave work early yesterday, otherwise I would have never got home. So I just couldn't do it today. It was what it was.
I feel your pain.
It's just unbelievable to me. The only good thing is I get to speak to you at 3 o'clock.
Oh, isn't that nice? Thank you, Angie. So what's on your mind?
I love this thing with this Zoran Itzerat Mandani. I can't, with the egg throwing and these men with the rugs at this all-girls school. What is going on with the New Yorkers? We have to do something. This is insane to me. Where are these parents? Where we have to take a stand somewhere. I cannot believe that no one can find anything on this guy. This is, I'm just flabbergasted, Dominic. I don't even know. There are no words. There are no words. He's making such a big deal about this.
You know, Angie, if someone's praying, a Muslim and they're hit with an egg, it's not right. But for the mayor of New York to escalate that, that's more important than the entire Jewish community coming under attack, and he has nothing to say. Nothing. It's disgusting. And so, like I said yesterday, do you think New Yorkers care more that one man, one Muslim praying was hit with an egg, or what's going on with the Jewish community? Angie, which one do you think is more important?
Well, obviously it's what's going on with the Jewish community, but where are our voices? Why are we allowing this? They're taking over right in front of our eyes.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it because that's, I'm not one to pull my punches, so let's go. That's exactly what's happening. Muslims coming to New York are saying, this is my city. It's not your city. It's my city. Look at who the mayor is. And I'm not trying to be polarizing, but this is what they're saying. It's one of us that's the mayor. We will pray whenever, however we want to. If it's outside a girls' school, high school, Jewish school, so be it. And I just think it's dead wrong. It's dead wrong, Angie.
So obvious. And this wife of his, why? It just seems like we're losing ourselves. We are losing our identity as Americans. We're so worried about being politically correct and not insulting anyone that we're forgetting about who we are. Where else in the world can you go and fly a flag from another country? And it's just insane to me. It's insane to me. And I just really dealing with the illegals every single day as a New York City school teacher and taking public transportation. I just really I'm considering just leaving New York at this point.
No, we can't lose you, Angie. I got to take a break. We can't lose you. You're a sweetheart. We need you in the classroom. We need your voice in the community. Mom Donnie, stop letting your pals fly these flags that insult everybody. We're coming right back.
Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back. Joining us live, and I look forward to this each and every week, is former Congressman Peter King. Congressman, I hope your family is well, but I got to tell you, I got a bone to pick with you, Congressman King.
Actually, we're all doing great. We're down in Louisiana at Tulane for my grandson's graduation.
And that's why I had a bone to pick with you, because you haven't briefed me on the graduation, and I want to know how it went.
Actually, Dominic, it went great. There was actually 2 ceremonies. There was the one on Friday, which was for his school. It was a business school. And then there was the one for the entire university the next day. They were both held in the Superdome. And everything went good. The weather was perfect. Apparently it rained the whole week before, and it was raining all the time after that. But that day it was great, and it was great being with Jack. He was in great spirits. Everything went well. My daughter was obviously her husband. My granddaughter was there, and Rosemary and I. We had a nice hotel. Everything was terrific. Couldn't be better.
So I know you and your wife must be so proud.
Oh, we are, and Jack's been a great kid. Now he's almost 22, so he's not a kid anymore. But he's always been, great to be with. Good personality. He's puts up with old timers. He's into old school things. He tolerates us, and he has a good time with us. He also has a lot of young friends. So he's just doing well. We couldn't ask for more. And he did well in school. Got good grades. Has a good job coming up, and so he's very happy.
I'm so glad to hear that. So now I no longer have a bone to pick with you. You return to your status as one of my most favorite people. What I want to know is that, and I emphasize to our audience, you and we never prepare this segment, and I like it that way because I know I can throw anything at you and you roll with it. So I want to start things a little different this week. So you've got Trump making his endorsement in the Texas Senate race. I want your reaction on that. But Congressman King, as far as you're concerned, there's so many things going on. There's Mamdani, his anti-Semitic wife, question of whether Mamdani, what, in your opinion, what's the most important story right now? There's Iran that you feel we should be starting with.
I would say probably Iran, as far as the long term, Iran could have the most consequences, the most immediate consequences. I think Mamdani here in New York, because he could right away, in fact, he is putting in changes which will bring about lasting damage to the city going forward. Giuliani got us out of the last the last amount of chaos that was going on in the city. But I would say the situation could be worse now with Mamdani, so no matter who comes in afterwards. If it's Giuliani number 2, he would not be able, I think, to make the improvements that Rudy made the first time, because Mamdani is such a committed socialist. I think he's very intelligent, knows what he's doing. He's putting in people who are going to implement what he wants, and that could create lasting damage. As far as Iran, obviously, you have world peace is at stake there. I think that if the president doesn't get real compromise, real terms back from Iran by the weekend, he's going to have to go ahead, because when you have events coming up like the World Cup and the 50th anniversary of the United States, you can't have all of that lingering out there with high gas prices and the uncertainty in Iran. So I think the president is going to make tough decisions by the weekend.
Well, Congressman King, you used to sit on those congressional panels that would receive those committees, the private briefings that even till today, some of them you still can't talk about publicly. So I've heard a lot of people say, as it relates to Iran, that what we've got to be careful about is that lone wolf is already here, ready to attack. Is that a concern of yours?
Yes, absolutely. We've known, for years that Hezbollah, which is the Iranian terror operative, there's hundreds, if not thousands of them in the New York area. Now, not all of them are here as trained terrorists. They're here to raise money. They're involved in different types of swindles to fund what's going on back in Iran, to try to spread propaganda around, to generate some support from Iran. But we have to assume, and this has been the assumption by all of the top intelligence people, that a number of these people here are trained terrorists and killers, and that they are waiting for a notice from Iran as to when to act. And now, I know that I'm going back to when Ray Kelly was the commissioner. He monitored them carefully. In fact, he even had a number of them arrested and deported. That was from the Iranian delegation to the UN when they were caught spying in the United States or trying to scope out targets. And there were any number of, I'm sure, and I'm not on the inside like I used to be, but that I'm hoping and I'm confident the NYPD and other police departments are monitoring those they believe are potential Hezbollah agents here in the United States or other affiliated terrorists with Iran. We saw the arrest the other day of the person, al-Sadi, I guess his name was, and that was from a group that I had never heard of before, but it is an Iraqi version of Hezbollah. It's like an offshoot. So that was a new one. But he was, again, the fact that he was being monitored and we didn't even know anything about the organization shows that the intelligence and the law enforcement agencies are trying their best to do the job. However, their hands have been tied a lot. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, the NYPD is doing a great job. Jessica Tisch is doing a great job. The Deputy Commissioner, Rebecca Weiner, is doing a great job. But they cannot do all that they were doing, for instance, when Ray Kelly was the commissioner. So they're trying to make do with less and also some restrictions on them. But I'm still confident if anybody can get it done, they can. I know that Nassau County and out in Suffolk County now, Tom Galati, who was a counterterrorism chief in the NYPD, is now working in Suffolk County. And the sheriff out there, Errol Toulon, is very tuned in also. And the police commissioner out there is also from the NYPD. So they are, again, Nassau, Suffolk, and NYPD are working closely with the FBI. But having said all that, all you need is that one or two that slip through the cracks and you're in trouble.
Absolutely. So, Congressman Peter King, it seems so long ago with the way our news cycles go, but I would describe President Trump in China as extremely successful. You have the Boeing 200 aircraft deal. You had all these tech leaders with the president. How would you assess his trip in China?
I would say it was so far, reasonably successful. We don't know all of it on behind the scenes. I'm hoping that the president was able to get some commitments from President Xi about taking action to reopen the Straits of Hormuz or to put pressure on Iran. It appears that the president resisted the threats coming from China about Taiwan. If you notice, like in the statement put out by China, they listed all the things that China was demanding, but it put nothing about the American response, which had to mean that the American response was, we're not listening. So that, to me, is positive. And also, we should try to keep in mind that, we complain a lot, I say we, all of us do, about the economic conditions here in the United States. Things should be better. Things are slowing down. Prices are going up. We are infinitely better than China. China is definitely on the decline. And that's a reality we should face. Yes, there is, quote-unquote, superpower, but they're nowhere near the power that we are, and we should keep that in mind.
Agreed. So answer this for me, Congressman, because I've been doing this 40 years, and I have never seen a situation where the type of mayor that we have, all of these stupid, ridiculous socialist ideas, the supermarkets, it already failed in Kansas City, but he's going to do it anyway, bringing it to East Harlem and to the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. Explain this Mamdani guy to me. I mean, because he thinks he's so slick. His wife, okay, wait a minute. How is his wife? She's clearly anti-Semitic. How is he able to get away with this?
She should be able to. He can't use the excuse that she's not in the government. The fact is they both live in government housing. She gets around the clock, police protection and support. Her husband is the mayor of the most powerful and important city in the world. And to me, she should be called out by the media. He should be asked much more penetrating questions about it. I think she should come public and defend her positions. Because this isn't like being a conservative or a liberal or Republican or a Democrat. We're talking about out-and-out anti-Semitism, racism, and basically allying yourself with dedicated enemies of the United States of America. I don't know any situation where we've had that before, such a radical. And listen, anyone can be for or against a war. They can say we should be spending more on defense, less on defense. All of that is within proper debate. But to be extolling the way she did and enabling the supporters of October 7th and the consistent anti-American themes that we found in what she said and done, and then you enter that Mamdani's father, these are issues that are not just the quirk in the family. Like Jimmy Carter had his brother Billy Carter, things like that. No, those are family quirks. This is something that goes right to the heart. She's a very young, educated woman. She obviously, she and Mamdani have a good relationship. And yet he can't just say, well, she has her views, I have mine. Her views are so penetrating and so radical and so bigoted and prejudiced and biased and anti-American that I believe he has to explain how he resolves that.
But Congressman King, and maybe you can answer this for me, because the bulldog journalists, those days are gone. You know, now it's all about clickbait and you want to be friends with the politicians. I don't understand. I mean, even this lady, the city's first lady, even her music is anti-Semitic. You would think as a woman that she would be able to identify with the Israeli women in terms of what was done to Israeli women October 7th. And it seems like she just doesn't care. And reporters, they refuse to ask Mamdani a single tough question. How is this, Congressman King?
Yeah, Dominic, I will disagree with one thing you said at the beginning, that a reporter is no longer a heavily engaged investigation. I remember when Judge Alito's wife flew the American flag upside down, it became a national scandal.
It
she
sure
flew
did.
the flag upside down when President Trump left office, and they were going after Judge Alito. How could his wife be doing this? That's just flying the American flag as a sign of protest. Here you have a mayor's wife in a city with the largest number of Jews in the world, I guess, except for Jerusalem, and a city which has been attacked by Islamist terrorists, and Israel, one of our closest allies, is being attacked. Anti-Semitic incidents and rages are occurring all over the city, in our universities, on our streets, at our public places, and his wife is basically siding with them. Whether she says it explicitly that way or not, that's the only conclusion to what she's been saying. And he's not asked her. That's considered like a personal question. To me, that is not personal at all. In fact, it's almost like an insult to him and his wife to say, well, your wife has all these beliefs which are so opposed to what New York stands for, and yet we shouldn't ask you about it. I mean, is she that insignificant that her views mean nothing to him?
Well, I all I say, Congressman King, is imagine the pillow talk that these two have, because she clearly hates America, and Mamdani doesn't appear to be far. I notice emphasis on appear. Doesn't appear to be far behind in terms of sharing her views. The fact that he is the mayor of New York City, it just says it all. I'll close on this, Congressman King. We have a minute left here. The strike, it's over. Just in time for the Knicks game tonight. You know, people to get back and forth to work. 300,000 people from your neck of the woods out towards that area. As it relates to the race for governor, does the strike impact the race or no?
I think it should. It should be a real negative against Kathy Hochul to allow it to get that far. She is the governor. She has extraordinary power. And to me, it showed a lack of interest. The fact they were able to resolve it after the strike started, why go through that? Why put so many hundreds of thousands of people through that? To me, she was asleep at the wheel, and she was afraid to exert the power that a governor does have. And that power is more than just maybe what's in the books. It's a real power. Nelson Rockefeller had it. Hugh Carey had it. Mario Cuomo had it. George Pataki certainly had it. And Andrew Cuomo in his good days had it. So the fact is there. She didn't know how to exercise it, and that's why I think Bruce Blakeman is going to be our next governor.
Yeah, I say don't sleep on Blakeman. The guy's got the look, he's got the ideas, he's got the energy. Congressman King, as always, a great pleasure to chat with you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you, and again, congratulations on New Orleans and what's going on there for your family. Thank you very much. Folks, I see your telephone calls. Robert, Staten Island, among the others, Sandra in New Jersey, 800-848-9222. We are coming right back with your live calls.
It's Dominic Carter.
And now, it's time for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Final Thoughts.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Final Thoughts of the day, like I mentioned at the top of the show, when I leave here, I am headed to an event where for the New York GOP, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is in town. So I'm trying to figure out what's next for him. And politically. And like I mentioned, my day got off to a great start. I met about 50 of you folks in Ramsey, New Jersey at ShopRite. Really, really great program there. But I want to get to some of your telephone calls because we have limited time left. Let's go to line one. Sandra in New Jersey. What's on your mind, Sandra?
Hi, Dominic. I was reflecting on how long I know you. And I remember the first time I called you, I was at Walmart outdoors, and I called you. And I don't know, I'm just so grateful to know you. And what I want to say is I believe because of you and others, and even some people that keep calling in about anti-Semitism, Dominic, I know it's dismal, I know it's bad, but I have a feeling we're going to win. And Mandami is going to lose. I just feel this. I don't know why, but I do.
Well, I understand, and the feeling's mutual, Sandra, but for the next 3.5 years, how do we win? I don't know how.
I think by the way how you're talking and how people are talking, calling in, saying things, he's going to become very, very, very uncomfortable doing bad things. I really believe he's a human being. It's going to get to him if we keep plugging away like we're doing. I really believe that. You, Sid, Greg Kelly, the people who call in, he's hearing this. He has to get affected by it. I really believe that.
If his heart is dark, then it won't impact him. I mean, I want to put on the rose-colored glasses like you, Sandra, but this guy thinks he's slicker than slick. Look at what he did with his wife, burying her during the campaign, then brings her out. He doesn't even disavow her anti-Semitism. So if that doesn't answer where he's coming from, I don't know what ever will. You know, I get disgusted when I think about, Sandra, before I move on, when I think about that Jewish girls' high school and those men, you've got to pray right outside the school. That's wicked. That's wicked. You're trying to send a message that you're in control. But guess what, buddies? You're going to find out this is Nueva York and you're not in control. You may have the mayor's seat, but you're not in control. Sandra, thank you for the great call. Shannon, line 4, Long Island. What's on your mind, Shannon?
Hey, Dominic. I just want to let you know and your callers that next Tuesday in front of City Hall at 7 p.m., there's going to be a big rally.
I thought it was in front of Gracie Mansion, no?
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. I
thought it was in front of Gracie Mansion, but I could be wrong. But go ahead.
To protest the Islamic takeover of the city.
Right. You think that's definitely what's happening right now, Shannon?
Oh, yes. And it's happening out here in Long Island as well.
Okay, well, why do you say that?
Because when they want to put up one of their mosques, and there are so many going up all of a sudden in the past year, they don't follow the rules. If they're told they could have 2 stories, no, they want 3. They have gotten summonses because they didn't get the proper permits, and they're bringing in HVAC material and all other things that were not approved. And then they claim religious discrimination. I'm sorry, but the laws have to change. You can't use that as an excuse. And then they sue the town of Oyster Bay, town of Hempstead. They sue the town, and the taxpayers have to pay for the legal fees.
Exactly.
This isn't right.
And they sue because they know eventually the towns are going to back down or go bankrupt. So it's disgusting what's going on. Thank you for the call, Shannon. Let's go to line 1. Erica, Upper West Side. What's on your mind, Erica?
Hi, Dominic. How are you today?
I'm good. Go ahead, please.
I'm glad to hear that. That was great about the ShopRite. What I wanted to say is the best thing to do with regards to Mandami, in my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours, you were just talking to Sandra, and you both had no clue about how to...
Right, we got 15 seconds left, so please, Erica, go ahead.
Is to uncover everything you can about Mandami, his past, his wife, her past, his parents.
Absolutely. That's the only way you're going to get this guy is to find his dirt. And believe me, I can look in his eye and tell you there's a lot. Born from the tragedy of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been honoring America's heroes ever since. Donate $11 a month and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org. T, the number 2. T.org. I am back live at midnight after this event with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?